point of view as to why they didn't like autistics was because they couldn't read us or like they couldn't figure us out basically.
Okay, Terry M. Bell enters the chat. Yes, because I have experienced this at firsthand. So please go watch her video for context because she's an autistic woman like myself, and she talks about how the issue that lies between autistics and narcissistic people and why narcissistic people really truly hate us. And really, it's like the people that hated us the most and bullied us throughout our life were really most likely narcissists or just had very heavy narcissistic qualities. And the part that I stitched is where she talks about how narcissists get so boggled because they can't read us, they can't not figure us out, and this is so true. And I even have a actual real life example of this. So basically, when I was in college, I was in a sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, still a part of it, okay? And what happened is I was online with a group of 5 other girls, so it was 6 of us in total. Now, one of our line sisters, she was a type of, well, first of all, she is a malignant narcissist. Okay. She is the biggest narcissist that I have like ever come across. And for her to be like, she's a year younger than I am, but she, of course, had a troubled past, but she turned into a narcissist because of her childhood trauma. And what happened is at the very early stages of us, getting to know each other, being online and everything like that, basically she was already starting to spread rumors, starting her smear campaign, accusing me of saying certain things to her or doing certain things to her that I did not even really do. It was just her own flawed perception of things. And then one day I actually, because basically she was kind of stirring the pot where she went to one of our line sisters and was talking about me, accusing me of coming at her because she was a freshman and I was a sophomore, accusing me of being rude to her and being mean to her and all that. And that other line sister, not the one that spread the rumors, but the one that she went to talk to, came to me and was like, well, she's saying all X, Y, and Z. And I was like, let me stop being a middleman. Let me just talk to her myself. So I go to the girl directly and I'm like, okay, well, what is the problem? Like, why are you going around telling everybody that I have done X, Y, and Z to you when that wasn't the case? Like, what are you upset about? And she's like, well, I didn't like how you had said this to me about my clothes that I had wore. Like you had told me not to, like basically for one of our meetings, we had to dress in business casual and she was like in regular casual clothing and stuff. And she's like, well, like I felt embarrassed because you kind of said it in front of everybody. And I was like, sweetie, okay, first of all, listen, I'm sorry that I called you out. And basically when I walked inside the door, um, I was like, that is not business casual. And I did say it very bluntly, but that's the autistic thing, saying it very bluntly. And I was like, well, sweetie, the rest of our line sisters were not even in the room yet. So you're saying it's everybody. It wasn't really in front of everybody. Yes, we had a couple of our profiles that were there, but it only was like 2 or 3 people in the room. And they were so busy setting up that they weren't even paying attention to what had happened. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it's not like I necessarily got you in trouble because when the rest of them came into the room, they saw all of us in business casual clothes and they see you in blue jeans, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. They're gonna say something to you anyway. She's just mad because I had said something to her first directly. She thought like, instead of her, she basically was saying like, I didn't have a chance to like go back and go change and stuff like that because I wanted to be here on time. And basically she didn't follow her first mind. She thought about going back to go change and then just kind of like just being late instead of, but whatever the case is, it was her own fault pretty much. And I told her how I apologized for, calling her out in front of other people and everything like that. But I was telling her, I was like, I really think that you're having the spotlight effect. You think that everybody was staring at you. You thought that everybody heard you. You thought all of this, everybody had saw you when really it wasn't everybody, baby. The rest of them wasn't even there. And the other 3 people, 2 to 3 people that were there were not even paying attention to us. They were so busy focused on other things. They didn't even hear the conversation because if they did, they would have looked up. They did not look up. By the time they called you out was when everything had already started, right? So she still ended up getting called out for not dressing in the proper attire. But I was like, but also we gotta we gotta add this thing in, is that another one of our line sisters, the one who was the captain, came in and said the same thing to her. Like, girl, where's your business casual clothes? Like, we supposed to all be one. We're supposed to all be together because if you're off and we're all together, we're all gonna get in trouble. Why didn't you do that? And the one who said it to her was more blunt than I was. You know what I'm saying? But the one who was more blunt is bigger than me, bigger than the both of us. So of course she felt intimidated and scared by her, with me kind of being close to this girl's size. It was kind of like, whatever. But anyway, so we had the conversation and I even tried to like, help alleviate the situation and everything. And then I also asked her, I'm like, okay, well, what about the whole thing about you feel like I'm coming at you because you are a freshman? Like, where is that coming from? And she's like, well, it was about like, your tone and how you said it to me. And I thought that you were trying to like tell me what to do or whatever. And we're like only a year apart. So I felt like, and I was like, but I'm not coming at you just because you're a freshman. I mean, I would have said that to anybody. You know what I'm saying? And then she also brought something else up about how we came from we came from pretty much like the same hometown, and we had our high school marching bands had competed against each other back when we were in high school. And my high school I came from was very phenomenal. Our band director is very, very famous. And our band director had wrote drill and used a song from like our 2012 show and gave it to her school's marching band to use in their 2013 marching show. And I remember in 2013, I was a junior in high school. We were at our competition, one of the locals, and we heard the song playing. And all of us in our band, we were just all looking at each other, laughing. We like, they done stole our shit, whatever. And then, like our band president was like, I know, baby. Just peep and shut up. Don't say nothing. We had to play it off. So what had happened was, how sometimes you have like schools that are rivals and y'all kind of joke about it and everything. So when I get to college and everything, and we're like having like a little meeting with with all of the line sisters, somehow it got brought up of the school that she went to, and she was in the marching band. I was in the marching band, and I have found out that the school that had took our drill, well, they didn't take our drill. Our band director wrote it for them. The school that had used our drill from our previous show was a school she went to. So I was kind of like, oh, gee, you was in that school? Bro, that was so funny. We was all looking around like, how they gonna just steal our drill? How they gonna take our music? Now, we know for a fact that like Ben wrote the drill for you all. We know that. But still, it was kind of funny. And I was basically like joking about it. Now, I'm not attacking her personally. I'm just saying like, yeah, because our band was saying all this and woo that, because y'all band was doing this. It's rivals. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's gonna happen. And she took that and ran with it and was like, I feel like she's trying to come at me and be all mean to me because her band was phenomenal and my band was not. I'm like, baby, I can't control the fact that I went to a very prominent, I can't control that. You know what I'm saying? But it was all friendly banter. And because you have people that are insecure and narcissists like that, they feel like everything is a personal fucking attack. So then what happened is, as I was on the phone with her, I'm asking her, I'm like, well, what's the issue? Like, why do you have such a problem with me? And she's like, well, honestly, Terry, you're very hard to read. And it's like, I can't really figure you out. Like, she's telling on herself, bro. And she's like, like, I'm trying to think, like, are you really a nice person? Like, are you really a good, kind, caring person? Or is this all a facade? Is it all fake? And I'm like, well, what do you think it is? And she's, well, I feel like you're a good person. I feel like you're very kind and very caring because I see how you're kind to everybody. You're really just a kind person to everyone around, not just me, but everybody. But I'm just wondering, like, how could a person be that kind? Like, how could people just be so kind and so loving and so caring? And I've come across a lot of people I've been around people that are not that kind. And I just don't understand how you could be that way. So sometimes I think that it's fake. It's a facade. And I was like, sweetie, you do know there are good people out here in this world. I'm sorry you have ran into a lot of nasty people and people that have bullied you, but I've run into bullies myself, baby. I have been bullied my whole life. I've been bullied a lot. But it didn't stop me from being kind. I'm like, the reason why I'm so kind and I'm so loving is because of the Holy Spirit that lives within me. I have a strong relationship with God. I believe in God. I may not be religious, but I believe in God and I have God's love within me. That is what allows me to be so kind and so caring and so loving, because God said to love God with your whole heart and soul, love yourself, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So I'm loving my neighbor. You're my neighbor. I'm loving my neighbor as myself. That's what I'm doing. When you start talking about God, that's when narcissists really buckle down, because narcissists hate God, because narcissists are spawns of Satan. They are the fallen angels that are jumping inside the vessels of people that are multiplying. And they're like, narcissist is a demonic spirit that is seeking revenge against God because he's pissed at God that he was thrown out of heaven. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when narcissists find that you're very hard to read and they really they want to believe that you're a good person, but they don't want to, their pride gets in the way. And on top of that, because they despise God's creatures, that's why they go after you. So all of that, and she still came after me. Fucking bitch.